Hey there, welcome to the channel. If you've been searching for a space where you feel seen, supported, and reminded of your worth, you're in the right place. This is your corner of the internet for real, honest conversations about love, relationships, healing, and self-growth. Whether you're navigating heartbreak, learning to set boundaries, or just figuring out how to love yourself a little more each day, I'm here to walk through it with you. I know life and love can get messy, and sometimes you just need a friend to remind you that you're not alone, and that no matter how heavy things feel right now, brighter days are ahead. So if you're ready to grow, heal, and step into the life and love you truly deserve, hit that subscribe button. Let's figure this out together. One video, one conversation, and one step at a time. Can I be honest with you? I can tell something's been weighing on your heart lately. And if you clicked on this video, I have a feeling I know what it is. You're wondering if it's time to leave your relationship. And just the fact that you're even asking that question, it hurts, doesn't it? I get it. When you love someone, when you've built memories together, the idea of walking away feels impossible. Even when things feel off, even when you're crying yourself to sleep or sitting in silence next to them, feeling more alone than you do when you're actually alone, you keep telling yourself it'll get better. That maybe if you try a little harder, love a little more, they'll finally understand what you need. But deep down, you're starting to wonder if staying is breaking you more than leaving ever could. So let's talk about it. Let's talk like best friends, late at night, sitting cross-legged on the bed with tear-streaked faces and puffy eyes. Because sometimes you just need someone to tell you the truth, even when it's the hardest thing to hear. First of all, I want you to know that it's okay to feel confused. Loving someone and feeling unhappy at the same time is one of the most painful contradictions a person can experience. And no one teaches you how to know when enough is enough. There's no universal checklist, no flashing neon sign that says, hey, it's time to leave now. It's messy, it's personal. But what I can do is help you listen to that quiet voice inside you. You know the one, the voice that's been whispering the truth you've been trying to ignore. Let's start there. Think back to a time when you felt genuinely happy in your relationship. What did that feel like? Was it lightness, laughter? Did you feel safe, like you could be your most unfiltered self without judgment? Did they make an effort to understand you, to show up for you? Now compare that to how you feel now. Are you constantly anxious, waiting for the next fight? Do you feel like you're walking on eggshells, afraid that one wrong word will set them off? Or maybe it's not even dramatic like that. Maybe it's quieter, a slow erosion of connection. You sit together, but it feels like you're miles apart. You reach out for them emotionally, but it's like hugging a ghost. The truth is, people don't always leave relationships when things get explosively bad. Sometimes they leave because the love simply fades, no matter how tightly they try to hold on to it. And that's normal. I think one of the reasons people stay longer than they should is because they convince themselves that leaving is only justified if something catastrophic happens. Like if they get cheated on or physically hurt. But the absence of outright cruelty doesn't mean a relationship is healthy. Feeling unseen, unheard, and unfulfilled, that's enough. And I know what you might be thinking. But what if I'm just being too sensitive? What if it's just a rough patch? Here's a good way to check in with yourself. Ask yourself this. Does this relationship bring out the best version of me? Or do I barely recognize myself anymore? Because love should make you feel more like yourself, not less. You shouldn't have to shrink your needs, silence your voice, or lose your sparkle just to make things work. And let me say this loud and clear. It is not selfish to want more. It's not selfish to crave a love that nurtures you, that fills you up instead of draining you. It's not wrong to want a partner who respects your boundaries, who cherishes your heart like it's something precious, not something to be taken for granted. I know you probably have 100 memories running through your mind right now. All the good times, the little inside jokes, the nights you stayed up talking until sunrise. And it's tempting to cling to those moments, to use them as proof that the love is still alive. But a relationship isn't defined by its best moments. It's defined by the everyday ones. Are you consistently happy, or are you holding on because of nostalgia, because of the potential of what you wish the relationship could be? You deserve to be loved for who you are right now, not for who someone promises to become someday. I also want to talk about fear, because fear keeps so many people stuck in relationships that are quietly destroying them. The fear of being alone, the fear of starting over, the fear that maybe this is the best they'll ever get. But let me ask you this. If you knew with absolute certainty that leaving this relationship would eventually lead you to a love that feels like home, would you still stay? Because I promise you the pain of leaving is temporary, but staying in something that slowly chips away at your soul, that pain lingers. You are capable of rebuilding your life. You are worthy of a love that makes you feel cherished, not depleted. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do for both yourself and your partner is to let go. Leaving doesn't mean you never loved them. It doesn't erase the good memories. But love without joy, love without growth, love without respect, that isn't the kind of love that sustains you. And I want you to be sustained. I want you to wake up in the morning and feel excited about life again. I want you to rediscover the parts of yourself you lost while trying to keep the relationship alive. I want you to remember what it feels like to be truly, deeply loved. Whether that comes from someone new or from learning how to love yourself again. If you're watching this and your heart is pounding, if your chest feels tight and your eyes are stinging with tears, that's your body telling you something. Listen to it. You already know the answer. And no matter what you choose, no matter how long it takes you to decide, just know this. You are not alone, and you are stronger than you think. I'm proud of you for even asking the hard questions, for being brave enough to face the truth even when it hurts. And when you're ready, whenever that is, you'll know, I promise. Take care of your heart. You deserve that. You know, when I was in a relationship that was slowly unraveling, I remember waking up every morning with this heaviness in my chest. It wasn't dramatic, no screaming matches or big betrayals, just this quiet ache that followed me through the day. I'd roll over, see them sleeping next to me, and instead of feeling warmth, I felt nothing. Or worse, I felt anxious. I'd overanalyze every interaction, wondering if I said the wrong thing, if I was being too needy, if the reason they were distant was somehow my fault. I told myself it was just a rough patch, that all relationships go through ups and downs, and love is about sticking it out through the hard times, right? But the truth is, there's a difference between weathering a storm together and living in perpetual darkness. A healthy relationship should feel like a partnership, two people choosing each other, not out of obligation or fear, but out of genuine love and care. You should feel like you can be your weirdest, most vulnerable self without worrying that it'll push them away. And if you start to notice that you're censoring yourself, hiding pieces of who you are just to keep the peace, that's a sign something's wrong. I remember sitting in my car one day, hands gripping the steering wheel, not wanting to go home, just sitting there in silence, staring out the windshield, feeling guilty for even thinking about leaving. I kept telling myself, but they love me, and I love them, and love should be enough, shouldn't it? But love on its own isn't enough. You can love someone and still not be right for each other. You can love someone and still feel lonely with them. And the hardest thing to accept is that sometimes love is not a reason to stay. It's a reason to let go. Because when love starts to hurt more than it heals, it stops being love. I think one of the biggest red flags we ignore is the way we feel about ourselves in a relationship. Ask yourself this: are you growing or are you wilting? A relationship should be a safe place for you to become the best version of yourself. Your partner should cheer you on, inspire you, challenge you in healthy ways. But if you feel like you've lost your spark, if you can't remember the last time you felt truly happy or confident or free, it's worth exploring why. Maybe they dismiss your feelings when you try to express your needs. Maybe every conversation turns into a subtle battle where you end up apologizing just to avoid another exhausting argument. Or maybe they don't even have to say anything. Maybe it's just the way they look at you now, like you're more of a burden than a blessing. I know that sounds harsh, and I know how much it hurts to admit that someone who once looked at you like you were their whole world now barely seems to see you at all. But ignoring that reality doesn't make it less true. I had a friend who stayed in a relationship for years, because she kept clinging to the potential of what it could be. She'd tell me, "I know he loves me deep down. He's just stressed right now. He's been through a lot. He'll come around." And every time he'd give her a breadcrumb of affection, a random compliment, a thoughtful text, an apology after a particularly bad fight, she'd use it as fuel to keep going. But love isn't supposed to feel like starvation. You shouldn't have to survive on scraps of affection, clinging to the rare good moments like they're enough to outweigh all the pain. A relationship shouldn't drain you. It should fill you up. And I get it. Leaving is terrifying. Even when you know it's the right choice, the idea of walking away from someone who's been such a big part of your life feels like tearing out a piece of yourself. You wonder if you're making a mistake, if you'll regret it, if you'll never find someone who loves you again. But can I tell you something? Staying in the wrong relationship robs you of the chance to find the right one. Or, and this is equally important, it robs you of the chance to find yourself again. Because the relationship that's meant for you, it won't require you to abandon yourself. It won't leave you crying in the shower or feeling like a stranger in your own life. It won't make you feel like loving you is a chore. You deserve a love that feels like peace, like home. And sometimes the only way to find that is to release the love that's keeping you stuck. I'm not saying the decision will be easy. It might break you for a while. You'll miss them, even the parts of them that hurt you. You'll grieve not just the person, but the future you imagined together. You might even be tempted to go back, just to silence the ache of missing them. But I promise you this, the longer you stay in a place that dims your light, the longer you delay the life that's waiting for you on the other side of heartbreak. And I know you might not feel ready, but the fact that you're still here, still listening, still searching for clarity, that tells me a part of you is ready. Trust that part. You are strong enough to walk away, and you are worthy of a love that makes you feel alive. And when you finally decide to choose yourself, fully, unapologetically, you'll look back and wonder why you ever doubted that you deserved more. I hope you choose yourself, because that's where the healing starts. And I promise, the love that's meant for you, it'll find you when you do. I know this is heavy. Letting go of someone you once pictured your life with is one of the hardest things a person can do. It feels like ripping out roots that have grown so deep you can't tell where they end and you begin. And for a while, it might feel like you're walking through life hollowed out, like you left pieces of yourself behind. But here's what I want you to remember. You're not losing yourself by leaving. You're finding yourself again. Every day you choose yourself, even in the smallest ways, by journaling your feelings, by calling a friend when you feel lonely, by getting out of bed even when it feels impossible. You are rebuilding. It won't be immediate. Healing is messy and non-linear, and some days you might miss them so much it physically aches. That's normal. Missing someone doesn't mean you made the wrong choice. It just means you cared. But little by little, you'll start to feel lighter. You'll catch glimpses of the person you were before the relationship wore you down. Or maybe you'll start discovering a new version of yourself. Someone even stronger, more vibrant, more sure of what they want and deserve. And one day, maybe while you're laughing with friends, or reading a book in a sunlit cafe, or driving with the windows down, singing at the top of your lungs, you'll realize you haven't thought about them in weeks. And the realization won't make you sad. It'll make you proud. Because you did it. You chose you. And you kept choosing you, even when it hurt. And the love that comes after that kind of self-liberation, it's different. Whether that love comes from a new relationship or from finally learning to cherish your own company, it feels whole. It feels peaceful. It feels like freedom. I know you might not be at that place yet. Maybe you're still in the middle of the storm, still trying to figure out what to do next. And that's okay. Just promise me you'll be honest with yourself. Listen to your heart even when it's telling you something you don't want to hear. Because you deserve a love that makes you feel safe, valued, and truly seen. And if the relationship you're in right now isn't giving you that, maybe it's time to let it go. And I promise, on the other side of that heartbreak, there's hope. You are stronger than you think. You are more resilient than you realize. And your future, the one where you're thriving, glowing, and surrounded by the kind of love that lifts you up, is waiting for you. You just have to take the first step. And when you're ready, when you finally decide to choose yourself, know that I'm here, cheering you on every step of the way. If this video resonated with you, please don't feel like you have to navigate this alone. Drop a comment below if you need a little extra support, or share this with someone who might need to hear it. And if you're ready to start your healing journey, hit that subscribe button so we can keep walking this path together. You've got this. I believe in you. Take care of your heart and take care of yourself. I'll see you next time.